This is Dave, and for today's big hairy idea, we're going to delve further into the concept of asymmetrical risk-reward. So yesterday we talked about the concept of asymmetrical risk-reward, something that we discussed in our book, The Size of Your Dreams. And for those who didn't see it or want a reminder, it's when you risk a small amount to potentially gain a tremendous amount. We gave the example of Richard Branson, who started an airline, but was able to get Boeing to agree to take the airplanes back if he didn't succeed and give him his money back, which allowed him to take the step of starting a potentially giant business, and it grew into a giant business, without actually risking that much money, that much investor money. It allowed him to keep his risks really low, and most successful entrepreneurs are really good at doing that. There's also all kinds of other ways that we have that asymmetrical risk reward in our lives. And in my life, I'm thinking about going to the gym recently. I'm not paying that much for this gym membership, and there's a very high chance that I'm going to get more vitality, more energy, more health out of going to the gym and making this part of my daily discipline. And it's really not much of a risk. It's a small amount of money. It's not a huge amount of effort compared to what I'm getting. So it's really asymmetrical. But asymmetrical risk reward goes the other way as well. There's a downside of asymmetrical risk reward, and that's when you risk a tremendous amount to get only a tiny amount of reward. When it's flipped around, what's asymmetrical is that the risk is huge and the reward is small. And the example we give in The Size of Your Dreams is that of drunk driving. Somebody who's drunk driving is getting some reward. They're getting the pleasure of the drink. They're getting the pleasure of the social experience. They're saving the money of not having to call an Uber to get home and not having to ditch their car somewhere, and it's just easier to get in the car and drive yourself. But you're putting yourself at tremendous risk, and you're putting others at tremendous risk. So the risk is very high, and the reward is really not all that high relatively. So this is an area that I want people to think about in your own lives. What are areas where you actually have a lot of risk and the reward is not all that great? Sometimes I think about staying up late to be watching something that you're not getting that much pleasure from. You're just too lazy to get off your butt and go to bed, and you're going to be groggy the next day. It's a high amount of risk, and we say that everything tends to go up when you don't get enough sleep. There's all kinds of problems that come, things that we're not even that aware of. Car accidents even go up. All kinds of other health problems go up. There's all this risk that comes from not getting enough sleep. Your productivity goes down, and the reward is not necessarily that big. Having that extra dessert when wow, it's not really good for my health. They're running across the street, jaywalking in front of traffic when okay, you could wait for the light, but you just don't really feel like it. Are there areas in your life that you feel like the rewards are not that great, but you do them from laziness, you do them because you feel like you want that thing, but you're not really cognizant of the risks. And in businesses as well. Are there areas where you are just risking a lot? The potential gains are either low chance of getting them or they're just not all that high. So this concept of asymmetrical risk reward, it really works everywhere. We can look at it as in the positive side when we can just risk a small amount to gain a lot. And we can look at it in the negative side too. Are there places where we're risking a ton and our gains are not that huge? And if we look at these areas and we adjust them, we tweak them, we get rid of the ones where we're risking too much to gain too little, and we add the ones where we can risk a little bit to gain a lot, I think we'll see huge growth in our lives and our businesses.